Brodes Media.
I am fucking pissed! I am pissed! Pissed! I am pissed! Where do I begin? Let's start very 1,000-foot view. You're facing the Mets in Queens, the team that beat your ass in the NLDS last season. You're going into their stadium. How? How is that the way that you show up to the ballpark? We're at the point now where our manager can't even get a challenge in on time. Granted, Nick Castellanos was out by 1,000 miles, but that shows you the lack of urgency from the guy you're supposed to lead. I listened to his post-game press conference. I swear to God, I had a right hook ready to go to square up with my damn TV because I couldn't believe what the hell was coming out of his mouth. You know what he had to say? My hands are getting tight. My fingers won't even loosen up. They won't loosen up. I can't talk. I can't stand this team. He said, it's all just random. Marte broken bad. Random. Pete Alonso. Romano threw a pitch that caught too much of the plate. That wasn't hit to Mars. Random. Stott in the 10th. Just didn't get the ball deep enough out in right field. Right center field, wherever the hell it went. Random. Random! That's not fucking random! Your team's not good enough. How many times have we seen them fail with runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs when you need to pour on runs? That 10th inning is a disgrace. That 10th inning is a joke. It is a serious issue that Kepler and Stott can do more damage. They couldn't get an extra base hit in this game. They did nothing. Their offense was non-existent. Wheeler got rocked off of what? Beatty? Beatty rocked him for a 2-run blast. Luckily, somehow, they were able to knock in some runs to tie it up 2-2. But I believe the 8th inning was the first time they had a leadoff man on since the 5th, which was their only time getting a leadoff man on. You're never going to succeed that way. And with all due respect, all right, to these nice pitchers, again, I'm going to have this same damn conversation about these guys that I had last year with Sean Manaea. I mean, guys like Canning? You're making them all look like Cy Young winners. Elite of the elite. This team is filled with bums. Here's how the main meat and potatoes of this order went in this disgusting Game 3. Trey Turner, 1 for 5. His paycheck should not go right into direct deposit. Bryce Harper, 1 for 5. Kyle Schwarber, goose egg. Nick Castellanos, 1 for 4. And you know what? I actually feel bad for JT. JT's 0 for 4 today. By the way, I don't want to not give him his round of applause. But here's the truth. I think JT gave everything he had to the game, but the nature of the beast is there's wear and tear that happens with the catcher behind the dish, and this isn't his fault. When Nick swings at trash after trash after trash, your fault. When Trey Turner sucks and then shows up to the park and sucks and then shows up to the park and sucks, your fault. Your fault. Being a 247 hitter, going 1 for 5, 1 for 5, 1 for 4, your fault. You can control that. You can be better. I don't think JT can be much better anymore offensively. This is just what happens to guys that pitch as many innings as he has or caught. Did I say pitched? I don't know. I'm mad. I'm mad. But this is what happens to a guy that catches as many innings as he catches throughout his time in Major League Baseball. Oh, we saw some fire. Guess I'll use some air quotes out of Rob Thompson today when the Edwin Diaz balk nonsense went down. You're telling me, Rob, out of everything that's transpired so far this season, and you know you only get 1 or 2 of those moments all year. I said it was truly a once-in-a-blue-moon thing from Rob, and you do see it here and there. It's very, very minuscule. It's very, very minor. It's very, very calculated, and it's very, very rare. But once in a while, he will pop in the I'm pissed off and I don't accept your BS type of, let me get into the manager or the umpire's face type of moment. That is what ticked you off most so far this year? You're a joke. This team's a joke. Now, I didn't have much faith in them going to Queens and winning this series. Did I expect them to roll over and die? No! I should have. But there was actually a part of me, because when the game goes on, I start to talk to myself about how exactly I'm going to lay out this pod. So I actually thought when it was 3-2, Bryce takes third, and then Nick Castellanos puts one into left field. They don't even care that Bryce takes third in extras. I thought, you know what, there's a good chance they win this game. And I'm not going to be happy by any means, but at least you didn't get swept and you win a Zach Wheeler start when there's a lot of pressure to win this game, to have an off day and set yourself up with whatever you can squeeze out of a win like this to salvage not getting swept before you head to Wrigley. I thought they were going to win that game. They bases loaded in the 10th, damn it! Get a run! Get 2! You know what? It doesn't even matter. Because if they got 2 or 3 runs in the 10th, Romano's pitching. And Romano is going to get crushed. You had to use Jose Alvarado for a bunch of outs, the most he's pitched in 4 years or so. Listen to me right now. They are so bad with bodies in the pen. They are unfortunately going to wear out Jose Alvarado. You know what everybody says about the record, the ones that are optimistic? They say it's only April. Relax, there's still 100 and something games to go. It's so damn early. Think about the way that Jose Alvarado has to be used. And by the way, we got, speaking of bullpen, we got Dave Dombrowski before the game trying to sell us, hey, we put together a nice contract for Jeff Hoffman. He just wasn't ready to buy into it. Please. Dave, you have not earned my trust. You have not earned my respect. You lost my respect. So I don't buy a damn thing that you say about Romano, why you went that direction, allowing Hoffman to go to Toronto. No way. No way do you think you're really going to vomit out your ass and I'm just going to be here to eat it up. No! Your bullpen outside of Romano today. Strom, Jose. This is what happens when you have the only very small amount of guys that you can rely on, but this is what happens when you have the guys that you can rely on after a Zach Wheeler start. And there were actually a couple of moments when Zach was out there. He falls behind 3-0 to Vientos. He gets the punchy anyway. He falls down 2-0, gets a big out. He falls down 2-0, gets a big out. And I'm thinking, here we fucking go, Wheels. You go to Strom, you go to Jose. Wow! Crazy what happens when you have actual reasonable guys on the bump. The second it's anybody other than that, you lose. And by the way, your offense sucks. Sucks. They suck. The offense blows. I mean, it's unbelievable. Where's the power? They did the exact opposite. They went from we mash too much to we're hitting this like a tiny little dick. They're hitting like a tiny little dick up there. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds right. They're hitting dinky doos all over the field. Little inside out poke jobs, little random up the middle singles, which is fine occasionally when it's all you ever do. Where's Bryce? Now, truth be told, every time I say something like this over the Bryce Harper tenure here in Philadelphia, he normally rises to the occasion and shuts me up within seconds. So I'm doing this with a plan. I'm doing this with an idea that maybe he wakes the fuck up and in Chicago, he does something nasty. Maybe a walk-off grand slam. He does something that's unbelievable. Whenever I start to say, where are you, Bryce? Can you wake up, Bryce? Can you be a leader, Bryce? Can you put this team on your back, Bryce? And, spark them. But they need a real spark. This is the truth. And I won't take credit for this. I heard Joe DeCamara this morning. I was on Fox 29 doing a hit on the current state of the Phillies and where the Eagles are going to draft. I posted that on my YouTube channel if you do want to check that out. And I will be posting that now that I think about it. I'll put that up. It's only about 5 minutes or so on all the podcasting platforms as well, which you can subscribe to Sports Talk with Brodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of your podcasting platforms. If you leave a rating and a 5-star review, that will really help out tremendously with the algorithm. So thank you all so much. But I was listening to WIP this morning when I was driving into Fox 29, and I heard him say, if this clubhouse loves Rob Thompson the way they seem to love Rob, I don't think it's unfair to say that they really like the manager, right? You better do something about it, because if you don't, guess what? Pressure's on. John Middleton ain't happy. John Middleton's not thrilled. John Middleton is a very passionate owner that demands winning, I think. I could be way off on that. And I'm starting to even question that. But just in theory, if you do fail and not live up to expectations, I believe, maybe I'm being a fool, but I believe he would react accordingly. Who's going to be the first one to lose their job? Mr. Thompson. So, do you really have a close-ass relationship with this manager where you want to save his job? Then go play ball the way that you are capable of taking the field, or else he's going to get canned. And I couldn't agree more. But I'll take a little different view real quickly. If I was the one in control, I would have done things differently even heading into the offseason. I've been on the record 1,000 times discussing that. But if somehow magically I was stupid and I took the same path that Dave Dombrowski took in the offseason, and this is where I am currently, which would never happen because I got a baseball brain that saw this coming a mile away, that they were going to be a disaster because they didn't change enough. But if somehow I accidentally got us here, and I wouldn't, Kevin Long's fired today. Kevin Long's fired weeks ago, but Kevin Long's fired before the Rob Thompson stuff. That's just the start of the fire. Will it become a forest fire and then a lot of people have to go? Maybe. But maybe the firemen come and put the damn fire out, where the only guy that does loses his job is Kevin Long. But I need the guys to know internally, we got some serious issues and nobody's safe. And if you don't get your head out of your ass, there's going to be more to go. So start looking in the damn mirror, figure out how you can maximize yourself, and let's start producing at a higher clip. Because as much as I think Trey isn't even close to being worth that deal, I think he's better than 240. I think. The one homer he lucked into. You know, Rob Thompson told me before the year, this guy's going to get 20 accidentally. He's going to magically just walk into 20 by mistake. Well, let's go! Where's the 20? Anybody see the 20? By the way, my last thing here, then I'll tell you about Greenlaw and Fertilizing, and then we'll take some of your calls. The sending Nick thing, Nick had no chance to score. None. Zippo. Am I mad that they put pressure on, the Mets defense to have to make a high throw and, put pressure on that? Here's the thing. Nick didn't stand a chance, but here's the alternative. If you go bases loaded and you just pass the baton, right? It's what? Johan Rojas, Cal Stevenson. It's one of those decision type things. I forget who was on the bump at that particular time, but whatever. And Rojas has been hitting the baseball better as of late. He had one of your RBI, actually, believe it or not. Woohoo, Johan Rojas. That's a problem if you're one of the top dogs, that guy is starting to actually look like one of your best hitters out of everybody else. That's a damn shame. That's a real problem. But what are the odds that you can trust this team to put together and string together hit after hit after hit to get another hit after that one? That's the alternative. Is you don't put pressure on the defense, you don't have Nick Castellanos go home, and now you're asking the bottom of your lineup to get a timely hit with runners in scoring position, or you're out by 10 feet. I mean, believe it or not, if you want my honest opinion, I think you got to ask Rojas or pinch hit and see what Stevenson can do, whatever it is, over Nick Castellanos running, because it's not Trey, it's not Johan. If those guys were on the bag and you were asking them to maybe beat out a throw, then I could probably live with the thought way better than I do with slow poke Nick, uncrustable sandwich eating Nick coming around third base, not even close to being at the, at home plate. And again, even if he was safe, which he wasn't, and it wasn't even close, our manager's falling asleep at the wheel and then he poo-pooed it after the game. Like, he was out anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it does matter. It means you can't pay attention. It means you can't do things right. It means you can't execute when the moment is there and we need you to execute. That's what it tells me, Rob. That you're not ready for the moment. The manager has X amount of things they need to do in a game. They need to make sure that they use the bullpen properly. They got to make sure they put together a respectful lineup card. They got to make sure they pinch hit when they pinch hit. You got to do all those things. One of them is be ready for a challenge if you need to. Of course, Nick wasn't close. But what if there was a play where it was close and you're just lollygagging around, not prepared? I can't rule it out. You weren't prepared today. You were not prepared today. So that means there can be a future date where you're not prepared. And it didn't seem like there was any urgency about it afterwards where you acknowledge, hey, listen, I wasn't on my A game there. It didn't cost us today, but that's something that I'm going to make sure does not happen again. I got to be there for my guys. I wasn't there for my guys in that particular moment. Granted, he was out anyway. But I'm just saying, I know how important these one or two plays can be. Bang, bang. You got a challenge. It's happening at a fast speed. The umps may get it right, may not get it right. Let's go back to the tape. That's my job. That's our job as a staff to make sure we do right by the players. I didn't get it in time. That's not going to happen again. I like that. But no, I get this sport's random. I got we're just in a little bit of a run right now. I got, It'll all turn around. So we got Topper being Topper again. Don't worry about it, guys. We're good. Hey, what you should worry about is your lawn. My friends over at Green Lawn Fertilizing, oh my gosh, are they the best in the world. They are based in the Philadelphia area and the best in the market. Experts in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Delaware, and they're so extremely knowledgeable that they've created their own custom blend that will have your lawn recovering. My neighbors are now starting to come up to me saying, Brodes, what do you got going on over here? What did you apply to your lawn? Because it is starting to transform. And I said, my friends over at Green Lawn Fertilizing, they are the ones that are taking control here, and they're taking care of business nonstop. I just had another wave of my treatments go down just about 3 or 4 days ago or so, and I was talking to them out front. They were teaching me a little bit about what this treatment is going to be doing compared to the previous treatment, and before you know it, they get the job done, they leave, and then they give you all the information that you're looking for, but it's rather done quickly on that specific day. There's multiple treatments that have to be applied, but when they come to your house and when they're actually doing the work on that specific day, they really do get it done in timely fashion. And they're a family, and they really do communicate with you and really teach you about what's going on and how your lawn is going to recover. And it really is a remarkable experience. So they are offering 2 free treatments and 10% off if you sign up with the link down below in the description, which will take you right to their website through my link. And just remember that the first round is super important to lay the groundwork for the rest of the season. So you want to make sure you get started today, as the season has definitely kicked into gear a little bit. It is time right now to get involved. Green Lawn Fertilizing. Make sure your lawn is as beautiful as mine is going to be. All right, we're going to take some calls here in a moment. Bryce Harper spoke after the game. He does not want to hear that it's still early. Quote, I'd rather you guys say it's a little early. I don't like that, just because you should be wanting to play good baseball all year long from April to November. All right. For whatever it's worth. Rob also mentioned he doesn't think that this means the Mets are in a different tier than you. Well, you should. You should. Should feel that way. I'm saying you should feel that they're in a different tier than you. It should piss you off and motivate you. To say they're not implies that everything's okay. Again, everything is not okay. But this is what the Phillies do. And this is what this management does. And this is how Dave Dombrowski operates, Rob operates. And when you do that, we're going to continue to see the same results that we have seen for years and years now, because they just lack so much urgency. It's a disgrace. It really is. All right, to the phones we go.
Brodes, this is the softest group of professional athletes that have this much talent, I think, in any sport that you can look at. It is a goddamn disgrace to watch this team go up against their arch rival and not have any sense of urgency, any sense of desire, any sense of will to win whatsoever. This team is so mentally weak. They're weak. They're mentally weak. They have no it factor. They have no, we're just going to stomp on your throat and take over this game. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what team you're on. We're just going to take it to you, and we just don't give a damn. They have none of that. This team is so fucking weak mentally. They are just inept. They're so inept. They are just so disgraceful for the Phillies teams that I grew up watching in 07, 08, 09, and you count it through the years. Those teams had heart. Those teams would stomp on other teams' throats and not give a damn about who they are, where they come from, and they would take it to anybody on any night, proving that they won a ring. This team is so, I just can't. Like, I'm at a loss for words. I'm just spewing words right now because this team just pisses me off.
Well, to be fair, it sounded good. I like the passion for sure. And you know what? When you talk about those teams, and it's always easy to reflect back to other squads in this city that we've seen win it all, or other baseball teams where they went through a nice stretch. And obviously, we wish we got more than just one in 08, and you lose in 09 to the Yankees. And every year after that, you were sort of going backwards, as we're watching this group do now. But I don't look at this team right now in particular as a team. They don't look like a team. They look like a bunch of guys that are wearing the same exact uniform. That's totally different. That's not even close to being a team. They don't look like a team. Now, back in 22, when they went on the miracle ride and all, there was something special about the chemistry. But there's something to be said about relationships with people outside of sports. Relationships with people, a significant other, right? Guess what? Sometimes after 6, 7, 8, 9 dates, you realize the chemistry's not right. And it could be even after a long marriage. Things fizzle out. It could be after a 3-year relationship. Things fizzle out. It could be after 3 dates. Things fizzle out. So there's no real timeline, and there's no right or wrong on the timeline. It's just the truth. And where we stand with this baseball team, I don't see a team. I think whatever chemistry they once mustered up together as a core has fizzled out. And now it looks like a bunch of guys that are just tight, that are trying their very best to do what they can do individually. And I'm aware that it's an individual-based sport in general, right? It's mano-a-mano. It's one guy in the batter's box at once. But you can still find ways to make this where the team collectively as one really does, like they motivate one another. They play for one another. They have that fire for one another. Like, obviously, we see so many teams do that. So as individualized as it can be, a ground ball to shortstop, you field it, you throw it over to first. It's on the shortstop to make all that happen. As long as the first baseman stretches and puts his damn glove up and doesn't pull a Reese Hoskins where it hits his palm and then falls to the ground, then you should be okay. I don't see a group that has the chemistry that it needs to be successful at a high clip. And until that changes, I'm not going to believe that they have it. I'm not going to believe that they have something spectacular. I used to rip Nick Sirianni very early on, and he had to deal with the whole early press conference, first time addressing the Philadelphia media stuff. One thing that he does so well, it's not even funny, is making sure that the group is so close that you will do anything and everything for one another. And then we'll figure out the football side of things, the strategy, the scheme, the this and that. But when you build that bond, the bond is so special. It is so installed into that locker room that it's the starting point. It's the foundation. And it's two totally different sports. One is war. The other is a long 162 journey. So it's not apples to apples. But is there a way that you can take that mindset of the bond and the brotherhood? You can almost make the argument that because it's so long and because the journey is so obnoxious and you're going to these cities and you're going through the grind and it's very taxing and there's ups and downs and there's a lot of lows and there's a lot of slumps and all that stuff, that maybe the brotherhood and the bond actually goes longer in a 162 baseball season compared to a football season. Probably not. I'm probably reaching a little bit there, but I still think that you can sell and find a way to really study how much of a grind the summer months are. You don't have that here, is my point. It took me way too long to explain all that, but that's the truth. Let's take another call.
So on this 6-game road trip, the best we can do is 3-3, but I can promise you we are not going to be sweeping the Chicago Cubs. So what is that? 2-3 at best? Terrible. Romano, terrible. Our situational hitting, terrible. This team, terrible. I don't really know what else to say. Right now, it's a problem, and if we keep using Strom and Alvarado as much as we do, then I can tell you their arms are going to be falling off by mid-July. So I would love to see a sweep here coming up in Chicago.
Ha!
I'm looking forward to watching some baseball this weekend, 2 day games as well.
Are you?
But It's a problem right now. The team is terrible.
I did not think I'd be taking a call where at the end says I can't wait to watch this team perform over the weekend. I could find a million other things I'd rather do than watch this team. Now, I watch them, and I go through the pain and suffering, and I sit there and I hate my life, and I want to put, tweezers on my nipples and put them into a car battery. I don't know what that means, but that's the type of stuff that I'd rather do than watch the Phillies, and that's where I am. I didn't think I'd be taking a call saying, let's get to these games in Wrigley. Please, no, have 6 off days. Most of the times I'm angry when we have an off day because I want baseball on a night-to-night basis. Take a month off. Take 2 months off. Now, you bring up what the best they can do is. You're right, they're not going to sweep Chicago. At best, they technically could go 3-3 from a technical standpoint. I don't see that happening. If they win 2 out of 3, then they can go 2-4 in their 6-game stretch. What I said would change my opinion on who they were was a 5-1 or 6-0 run against these two teams. That would change who I think they were. And I was getting yelled at because someone said, what? You wouldn't be okay with 4-2? No, they went 4-2. Okay. If they were going to change my view and opinion that they are something serious, they'd have to go 5-1 and 6-0. I got news for you. It's impossible now. So they're not special, and they're not something better than what I thought they were. That's the takeaway from this series. Not shocking, but that's the takeaway. All right, with that, I'm going to wrap things up here. I can't thank you guys enough for kicking it with me. This team, I hate them. It's a love-hate relationship. You guys are the best. Thank you all so much for kicking it with me, and I'll talk to you next time. Go Phils.